This is the third video I'm recording in a series on solar contributory value, specifically in residential properties. We started with the idea of income. So we've got an amenity which actually provides income through cost savings. And so the income approach being sort of a natural place to start. Video one dealt with how do we capitalize that income? Let's look at some of the different metrics and ways to do that. So we talked a lot about GRMs, cap rates, and discount rates in the first video. Second video, I focus on the GRM, concluding that not a bad place to start for various reasons, but that the GRM needs to be adjusted. So we talked about why, some of the details on how a GRM is built, how it's comprised. And so today what we're going to do is talk about, even though that GRM through the adjustment process is more aligned with the market, their GRM is derived from the market, so it has some inherent tie to the market. But is the market actually behaving in the way that we think it will, or as it should? I'm going to use that word a lot in this video. So that's where we're going today, how to make those observations. So what we're looking at is, just like I said, we're starting with income. We've now applied an adjusted GRM, so now we have our contributory value, or what we think it should be. So we might want to even term this as the inherent value based on the income. So what if that is not how the market actually is behaving? What if we notice that the market value is below that inherent contributory value, the value that you think it should be? So that would tell us that we've got some market resistance, the difference between that market value that you're observing from an actual sale and what it should be based on the income approach, that adjusted GRM. They're different. So that might be market resistance, or you might observe the opposite, that the actual market contributory value is higher, meaning that you've got a market preference. So how do we actually make those observations? So we can determine how this market resistance or market preference factor by analyzing our sales using the income approach as an independent variable, a predictive variable for that market reaction. So we'll talk about in a few minutes why we want to do that. But first I'll talk about how you would do that. So that would be just taking a market observed value. So you've got a sale with solar and you've done an analysis and you have made an observation as to what the contributory value of the solar was from that observation. Well, then you divide that by what the income approach value would have been from that observation. So what were the specs of the system in that sale? And if you multiply that by 100, that gives you 100%. That gives you the percentage of the income approach values supported in the market. So if we wanted to take an example for that, so here's an example of a sale that you've analyzed, and sale sold with owned solar. It was properly marketed, and your analysis shows that there was a $8,000 contributory value that you've concluded. So you also looked at the specs for that system and analyzed the potential cost savings there, applied your adjusted GRM, and you have a value of $10,000. That is the inherent value, the should value. So what you have just recognized is that 80% of that should value, that inherent value, was recognized in the market. So you have a market resistance factor of 20%. So that can be helpful to note. and why? What's the benefit of doing that as taking that income approach and using it as an independent variable? Well, the first thing is that we don't always have all the sales that we would want for any given appraisal to analyze. So because we have limited sales, we need to extract more information from each sale. So this gives us a way to do that, to take a given sale and make additional observations that may have a broader context than that specific market, the comparable homes to that specific property. The other thing that you might notice if you're doing solar research is that there's probably going to be a higher variance in your market observations. If you're observing what's the contributory value, that contributory value number will likely have a higher variance. There's a lot of reasons for that. So overlaying an income approach on top of that will serve to sort of smooth out that data. And one of the ways is the third reason, and those kind of go together, is that there's variance in the system specifications. Not every house with solar has the same system. They may vary significantly in how many panels they have, how much electricity are they able to generate, how old are those systems. So all of those things need to be considered, and when you are using the income approach as that independent variable, you're bringing in all of those variances together in that income approach observation. So that allows you to consider a wide variety of different variables all together in one independent variable. That can be super helpful. So by doing that, you can actually develop a market reaction factor, either a market resistance or even a market preference for solar in a given market. And you can then go back to your income approach and apply that as an additional adjustment to your GRM. So now your GRM is adjusted for the differences in asset class or the composition of the capital that we talked about last time. And now you can also apply an adjustment for that market resistance or market preference and have your income approach have a market result. So it's not just resulting in the inherent value or the should value, but it's resulting in a market supported value. That is, again, when you're dealing with limited sales. A lot of variance in those observations and a lot of variance in those systems that can be very helpful in order to support a contributory value with limited data. What we haven't talked about yet is cost. So the next video, we're going to talk about the cost piece of that puzzle. What do we do with that information, and how does that fit in? How do we reconcile all this together? And so the next video will be our last video in the series, where we talk about cost and pull it all together in a reconciliation. So I will look forward to rolling that out soon.